Welcome to the state of the game for June 2nd. Unfortunately, the maintenance did not really go as planned because we had a few fixes that were actually scheduled in this maintenance. We found out that the fixes were not working as they were supposed to. So that means that the server patch that was scheduled with this maintenance actually has to be postponed to a later date until we can make sure that the fixes are actually working as intended. The bad news is that some of these fixes were actually also concerning Clear Sky. We found some bugs that could lead to potential exploits on Clear Sky, which means that we're also postponing the challenge mode of Clear Sky, and we will not open the challenge mode today, guys. So that's the bummer, but we prefer to make sure that we fix any potential exploits before we actually open the challenge mode.
Yeah, we need to ensure that the experience is perfect and that we don't have the same issues that we could have had with Falcon Lost in the first place.
Yeah, so that was one of the reasons why we decided to open challenge mode later, first hard mode and then challenge mode. Yeah, we had initially planned to open it today, but yeah, in the light of the latest bugs that we found, we prefer to keep it closed for now. So apologies, but therefore we want to make sure that when it opens, it's going to work properly. With that, we also had a few bugs that were actually supposed to be fixed today that, again, will not be fixed because we have to postpone the patch. That was the high-value target reset bug. So that was the one where, yeah, you would do your daily high-value targets and then they would not reset. Why do they not reset?
So if you are doing the contract but with a friend, so if a friend of you is buying the contract for you and you do the contract together, then it will be marked as completed and it will not reset properly after the reset. If the same contract come up later on, it will be marked as completed.
The other fix that we were supposed to have today was the Dark Zone 06 teleport.
Yeah, there is a place in the Dark Zone, in the subway, in the Dark Zone 06, that sometimes if you get there, you might be teleported back to the checkpoint. So, yeah.
So that, that is still going to be part of the game for a bit longer, but that's the same. We have a fix ready. It's just a matter of when can we deploy it. So next maintenance, we should be able to deploy that. So yeah, in terms of next steps, so that means that we will look at first the fixes that were not working, which is why we're delaying everything. See if we can get them to work properly. And then we'll work on a new build to have a new maintenance and deploy the fixes that are ready and the new ones also, and see if we can open challenge mode. Right now, we don't have an ETA, and I don't want to say anything that might set false expectations. So we will let you know, guys, as soon as we know more. This is fresh from this morning, so we're just right now we are kind of investigating what's going on. No critical search and destroy, so this is an issue where you would do search and destroy missions and then eventually no critical.
Yeah, there is always supposed to be one critical safe house that rewards you twice as many Intel tokens that you can use to buy the HVT contracts, and sometimes there is no critical safe house, so you can still farm the search and destroys, but the critical one should come up after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, and so that one we also have a fix, but that one is a client fix, so that will require a title update to be deployed. So probably 1.3. WI, so WI, I don't know why I'm laughing about that. That's not funny actually. WI, so yeah. We have a fix. We've deployed the fix on PC. We've deployed the fix on PS4. Yep. The fix for Xbox One is ready. It just hasn't been deployed. And we don't know yet when exactly this one is going to be deployed. This is, we don't know exactly when this is going to happen, but as soon as we will know, we will let you know.
High value target and including with the search and destroy are really successful. Mm-hmm. The whole idea behind the feature was to bring back the player in the open world and give them something else to do than just the main mission or the Dark Zone or the incursion. Just enjoy that beautiful world that we created in the first place. And that worked. I mean, the whole feedbacks we have from the player is that they really like the feature, and that's what we see from our data as well. Basically, players spends slightly more than 2 times more time in the open world than before 1.2. So it's definitely a success for that. It's a great opportunity for the solo players if they want something else to do. From the data we have, that the proportion of item that players equipped the proportion of crafted item versus looted item is way more in favor than the loot for the loot right now, which is exactly the point of that change. So we are also really happy with that. Now that we drop way more weapon and powerful weapons, we start to see a lot more different weapon types and weapon model being used, and that helps us a lot to tweak everything and balance properly, either between weapon type, but as well inside the same weapon type, balance each SMGs accordingly, or shotguns, LMGs. We actually see more and more shotguns.
That's the thing I wanted to bring up, because with the Lone Star, I think a lot of people are using shotguns. I've seen some people saying still LMGs are still not really worth it with the Lone Star, because the damage output is still too low for the weapon, but therefore shotgun are much more enjoyable now with the Lone Star. So, and
we said it as well with the new gear sets. They are not, like, on paper more powerful than the previous one, but with those one we really want the player to change the way they play the game. We want those gear sets to be more gameplay changer than actually just pure stat increase. And for example, using the Lone Star, that will not bump the DPS number you have in your inventory. Well, it will bump because it gives you more shotgun damage, but the force talent, it will not be taken into account in your DPS inventory. So if you just look at the numbers, you'll see, I will keep my sentry striker. But if you really start using it, you realize that not having that reloading time every time you empty your magazine is actually a huge DPS increase, like real DPS.
Yeah, I was watching a video yesterday that SkillUp made, theory crafting, about the Lone Star gear set, where he explains that also, that this is a stat that is not technically taken into account in your DPS output, that is shown in the game, but actually considering that you don't have to reload and you can just switch from one weapon to the other, actually helps a lot with the DPS you will deal. Talking about the Lone Star, I just want to add a mention here, because I know that a lot of people have been asking, why do I drop so many Lone Star items in high-value target missions? This is intended, right? This is...
Each activity in the game will have its specific gear sets. So, for example, for the incursion, Clear Sky, it's the Predator's Mark and the Hunter's Fate. In the Dark Zone, it's the Final Measure. And in the Kill List, it's the Lone Star. So that's, if you want to farm those specific gear sets, the best way to do it is to do that specific activity. But because we don't want to force the player to play a specific activity just because they want that gear set, you still have a chance in every activity to get every gear set that you can have. So, for example, the supply drops in the Dark Zone can drop any gear set. The sealed cache can drop any gear set. But the NPC drop will most likely drop Final Measure in the Dark Zone. The NPC drop will drop in the Kill List, or the HVT will drop the Lone Star.
So you will get a Lone Star, but you can also have a chance at getting something else.
Yes, and the last thing was the cut the rope. So we know that a lot of players were a little bit afraid of the future.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of discussion when we announced it, because people were like, oh no, it's going to change the whole meta of the Dark Zone and everything. So
and once again, I think it's pretty... I think that players realize that it's actually a pretty cool feature. If we just want some numbers, so far, 7% of all the extraction that happened in the Dark Zone, there has been a cut, hijack attempt on them, 7%, and only 3% of those were successful.
Okay.
And when the hijack is successful, 20% of the time, the rogue player will actually die before even being able to pick up the loot. So I think it's really
7% attempted to cut the rope.
3% succeeded.
3% succeeded.
And from those 3%, 20% of the time, they die before even being able to pick up the loot.